Welcome, welcome. We're back with another episode of the Gothic Heart. And today we have guest Sophie Zollmann, who is a digital marketing guru with magic, has her witchy ways and tendencies in Gothic style. And that is what we could all use when we're putting our personal life and personal style out in our business and being very authentic. So we bring her here to help us figure out A, how we present ourselves professionally if it seems like a market that we can't, and B, hello, I'm not good at digital marketing. She will absolutely understand my vision and my way of thinking. So we can present some of these people that can help you out with things. So without further ado, Sophie, please introduce yourself way better than I just did. Hey, it's Amity, welcoming you to the Gothic Heart, where we explore how to fully embrace your Gothic and alternative self in love, life, and everything in between. Whether you're navigating the dating scene, in a relationship, or celebrating your individuality solo, this is your spot for tips, inspiration, and my own journey from a courtroom attorney to a hollow wedding host. So grab your favorite drink and let's dive in.
Thanks. Sophie Zollmann. I am currently in Nashville, Tennessee, and I am an 80s pop, Stevie Nicks, witchy woo-woo woman, Harry Potter nerd extraordinaire, poker player, beach bum, grandma, and, a few other things as well. Oh, digital marketer. I did say that, right? And, I have brought my magical witchy woo-woo ways into my business, and I like many people came into this world. I'm doing business. I have to be this professional stick in the mud. No, I don't. I can be me. In fact, more people want to see me and talk to me and even potentially work with me because I am who I am. I don't have to be that stick in the mud, pretend I'm one of the guys kind of professional people. I am me. I am who I am. And it's even in the book we'll talk about here in a minute the book is about intuition. Intuition is definitely more of a woo-woo thing than a business professional thing, but it does come together in business and makes your business better, your life too.
Absolutely does. And you did the perfect segue into your book. So let's just go there now.
So I am the co-author of Women Gone Wild, The Feminine Guide to Fearless Living, the Intuition Edition. Myself and 24 other amazing women who are all in touch with their intuition. Many of them are very witchy woo-woo. One of them actually is a witch. She is a paranormal, she has a paranormal TV show, different things like that. We all use our intuition in our own way, and we all talk about it in the book. And for me, my chapter is called Letting Intuition Lead, because my intuition, when I listen to it, takes me on a really good path, both in life and business. When I ignore it, and especially if I ignore it for too long, I get smacked upside the head with a universal baseball bat, as I call it. And my chapter is the story about how I have both listened to and ignored my intuition in my 15 plus years of being in business and being in the online world, and learned many lessons about what it really means to incorporate the witchy woo-woo, the intuition, the spiritual side of life. No matter what you believe, it is all intertwined, just like business and life are intertwined. People are like, well, business is business and your life is your life. It's like, no, it's not. It all goes together. And when any one of those things are massively affected in a good way or a bad way, it affects the other pieces, and it spreads out through the whole aspect of who you are and what you do in both life and business. So I am definitely one of those people that has learned the hard way to listen to my intuition, to listen to the universe, but you temper it with the other aspects. I call it a multi-way conversation. Your head, your heart, your soul, your intuition, mentors, coaches, friends, family, colleagues that are a part of your world all have a say in it, but ultimately it comes down to a well-rounded decision that takes in all the factors, not just the data and the analytics in the brain, or the, oh, I'm so passionate about this, but can you really make money at it? Well, if you come through it right, you can, because you're using the combination of all the things that affect you, your life, and your business.
That is such a great way of putting it. And I love that you're like, and not make the mistakes that you made or how you did when you first were the professional and the separate, which was, I keep saying I learned to accept myself for all my things in my 20s, but only in business, like basically now. Or, I mean, basically, 6 months or so ago that I've been planning on my new launch. But it's just wild. And I always say the same thing, figure it out sooner than I do. And you know what? I also think 20 years ago, 25, whatever, I first started, having serious jobs, it probably wasn't as much that we could do that. But now in the digital age with social media and everything, and you can see more behind the scenes of people and get more authenticity, I think people really want to connect with the person first before just necessarily the business. Maybe not with like, the Walmart or, giant corporations, but with small businesses like ours. I think that level of authenticity and being who yourself is going to attract the people that you're looking for. Nobody feels a connection to fakeness or not authentic. I don't know what the right word is, but whatever
Right,
it is.
I know.
So I
You know,
wish I'd had you to teach me or to tell me all of that when I first launched. And I was like, no, I need to be perfect bridal jewelry and I can help everybody in nice and pretty and sparkly. Oh, wait, no, I can do black stones and coffins and things. So
oh,
I love that you're
absolutely.
here to
Yeah.
share that. Yes. Oh my gosh. Collection October. It's almost here. I can't wait. But I love that you're here to share that with us and the mistakes of not following your intuition. Even just the last couple of episodes, we keep talking about don't ignore those little things that you tend to justify, like pay attention. So, I mean, that was just based on what we've already talked about, but I would love to hear just the difference it made when you finally started, being who you are, putting that part in your business and everything so that we can see that it can.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I've been in business for 15 years. I've been in the online space working, from home for over 20 years. And for many, many years, I came to the table as the business professional person with, makeup, hair, whatever, and all those things, and business clothes,
Suits.
because I did start out in the business world. I did have a job once upon a time where I had to dress. And I even had a job once before getting into all this where I was hiding who I was, very much so. They hired a guy who was not hiding who he was. And he was also the witchy woo woo, magical Wiccan pagan kind of guy. And we would talk about it, and he saw I didn't have this necklace on, I had a kind of I was hiding it under my, but he caught it and he saw it, and so we struck up a conversation. And when he's like, oh, I've got all this cool stuff on a disc that's for backgrounds on your computer and things. And so he brought that to work one day and he gave it to me. And my boss was like, what is that? Are you guys stealing company information? And we're like, no. Well, what is it? Do you really want to see it? And they were like, yeah. So we showed them what it was, and they immediately treated us different. And I think he even got fired. He even got fired for it. And it had nothing to do with their business. So I learned way back then that no, you can't bring out who you are in your job, in your business. And for years I did that. And it was a few years ago, I was working with a coach who was, we were in her home in a small group event, working on our businesses. And I was creating new packages and new ways to sell my services. And she wanted me to give them names. And at first I gave them, names that most people thought sounded like I wanted to have sex with everybody. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, can't do that. That's not what this is. So I'm like, I thought about it. I'm like, I'm an 80s pop, Stevie Nicks, witchy woo woo person. And I started to give them names of 80s pop songs. And my coach looked at me and she said, wait, you're who? You're what? And I said, yeah, I'm an 80s pop chick. I love Stevie Nicks. I'm witchy woo woo. She literally looked at me and went, and I know that, if you're not seeing a video, it's like she literally wagged her finger up and down and said, that's not what I see. because I was in business professional clothes even at this gathering at her house. And so she goes, I want to see you. I want you to step into that and be that. So the next day, I happened to have some of my clothes with me that were more aligned with that. Like I had this shirt that had a snakeskin pattern on it. I had, black leggings and my black boots. And I showed up the next day in that outfit, and everybody, there were a few other women in the room, and they all looked at me and goes, now that is your 80s pop witchy woo woo person. You need to do that all the time. And so I realized that it's okay to do that, to be who you are. And so I started stepping out. I mean, I've always had my Harry Potter office stuff around me. I've never used a green screen. I've never used, the blurred background. I'm like, this is who I am. If you don't like that I'm a Harry Potter nerd, well then, we don't need to be friends. We don't need to work together. You don't need to hang out with me because I'm a Harry Potter nerd, like massive Harry Potter nerd. But I am also into spiritual things. And I was Gothic once upon a time. When you see my headshot, if you don't see the video, I'm getting gray now. I was a brunette. But when my husband and I were first married, he was in the army and we were stationed in Germany. And I found the Gothic crowd through the CD store on post, and I dyed my hair black. I wore black all the time. I went to a Gothic club where all the German and European Gothic bands played, and it was literally in an old prison with candelabras to light everything except for the bar. The bar had one fluorescent light over it to light the bar. But everything, I mean, it was as Gothic as you get, and I had so much fun. And my friend that went with me, we loved it. It was so much fun. And we met a couple of the bands and got on. I mean, it was very intimate and small. And, people you got made fun of if you were out in public like that. I mean, I watched many of them get beat up and things going to McDonald's after we were done at the club, and they'd get picked on and harassed. And it was like, it puts you in a shell. It puts you in a hiding zone. And even then, just being me, not working a job, I've had that experience. So when she said that, I was like, really, I can do this. And I started doing that. And the comments and the compliments that I started getting from everybody, whether it was on social media, on Zoom calls, whatever it was, they were like, wow, you look really good. You look so different. And you look so relaxed and so calm, and it's a whole different energy and a whole different persona and personality that comes through. And they're like, we love this. Please don't stop doing this. This is great. You got to be you. And I'm like, okay. And over the next few years, I just kind of I kept growing into that. And your life changes. Things have gone, I haven't changed a whole lot in those last few years, but every once in a while I'll come across someone who says, oh, you need to calm that stuff down. And I'm like, no, I don't. I have been talking about this I'm a digital marketer. I talk about being authentic, about being real, about being genuine, not following the trends if they don't fit you. I mean, all the TikTok videos where you're pointing at words and you're snapping your fingers, and it's like, if that's not you, don't do it. You're going to ruin your reputation. You're going to look like an idiot. And then you're not going to get clients because you ruined your reputation on TikTok following a trend. You got to be you, no matter what that is. And it's just one of the co-authors, she is Gothic witch dress all the time. She has the coolest clothes and the coolest jewelry. When we were doing the book launch, she was coming in and I'm like, where do you shop? It's like, I want some of that. I was like, oh my God, that is such cool clothes. And, and we talked for hours about how she is 100% witch. That is who she is. That's how she shows up every day, and has for even longer than me, because she's been doing her thing I think she's been doing it over 30 years now, maybe even 40. And she's like, this is who I am. I am a witch. And this is what I believe. And this is how I talk. And this is what I coach. And this is how I dress. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I'm so envious. You look so good. And she's so cool. And, and we got along, and it's just like, you're going to have your trolls. You're going to have your haters. It's social media. It's the online digital world. You just have to walk away and not give them the time of day, because the people who truly want to work with you are going to appreciate you being who you are, no matter what that is, whether it's Gothic, whether it's witchy woo woo, whether it's, Lord of the Rings fan, whatever you are, whoever you are, you've got to let it shine through, because it changes your energy and it shifts what you attract, because everything is energy. And if you're putting out really stiff and blah, blah, blah kind of energy, those are the kind of clients you're going to get. Do you want to work with those kind of people? Or do you want to work with people like you, people who are spiritual and witchy woo woo and Gothic, whatever the case may be? Because I can be that way, I am definitely, out there, and it's like I can relate to people who are like that, and they, if they talk to someone in the marketing world, in the, whatever the case may be, they are always, going to attract me, and they're going to like, oh wait, you get me and my vision, but you can also do all the business stuff and all the marketing stuff, because that's the stuff I don't want to do. And it's like, oh yeah, absolutely. Because along with my witchy woo woo, I'm Virgo. So I have the analytical, practical, detail-oriented systems, process, organization stuff going on. And most of the creative visionaries out there who are in that spiritual woo-woo Gothic space don't want to do that. And they can't even relate to that, because it's just like, it's too drab and dull and boring and bleh. But I can be both sides. I can see their vision and help them achieve their vision with the things that they don't want to do, because me and my team do that for them. And it makes a great partnership and a great relationship, because I do get them on that kind of a level too. And they get me on that kind of a level, and we can connect and resonate and be more bonded in business than when you're not working with someone who isn't of that witchy woo woo persuasion and whatnot.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure everyone listening is ready to hire you right now. That was exactly what I needed to hear. Oh gosh, if I could have heard that when I first launched. Gosh, it's crazy. And just that piece where, you will get the haters or whatever, I don't know why it took me so long. Well, then, okay, they're not my customers. There's plenty of other jewelry stores that they could go to, or jewelry people, right? They're not my
Right.
customers. And I've done so many, I know I'm talking about jewelry, but it relates exactly to how you said. I've done so many of the plain, bands that they just needed to contour around, and that's why they came to me for custom or whatever, versus when they come to me with like, I'm really into this, or I'm into Star Wars, or I love anime, or I'm a gamer, or just any of those, or I've got, a celestial aesthetic. Like, the way I feel getting to do those versus the others is exactly what you were talking about. And I just had someone on the podcast very recently when we were talking about the beauty of darkness. And it was literally how I can wear my style or put on my makeup or my subtle vampire ring or spider earrings or whatever maybe, and I literally do carry myself different or talk different or feel different, like having my style be close to me versus what I would wear a suit all the time for court or something like that. So exactly what you say. I lived it. And what you say, I'm currently going through the struggle, or what you just mentioned right now, as I am into transition. Well, I don't know when this airs, everybody listening, but in October, I'm relaunching with a whole bunch of collection and pieces. And I'm literally in that struggle right now of, since I'm growing, how much of it is still me versus we, and how am I presenting that on social media? I'm currently in that right now. Like, I still am like, how much is too much? Where I keep trying to tell everybody, be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. And I want that, but I'm still feeling that tug.
It's a difficult battle, and it takes time, but you have to, I mean, you've got to do it. You've got to be it. And, just, it's a part of the ebb and flow and the energy. And it's like, you'll know when you've really stepped out there, and you'll know when it's just like hit, and you will light up, your energy changes, and for me, you can tell when I am like on my game with all my woo woo and everything going on, because I will be lit up. I will be animated. And in some cases, you may not even be able to shut me up, because I can just go on forever. when I am in my element, when I'm fully stepping up and being me, because the confidence is there, the energy is there. And, the whole, I don't give a damn what people think really gets into my head and lets me fly. And the freedom you feel from that, the way you present yourself and show yourself, and the way you speak and the messaging that comes out, even if you're doing something off the cuff, is going to be so much more compelling and interesting and going to attract the right people, the people you want to work with, because it's all coming from who you really are deep inside.
The word confidence, that is the exact right word. When we're even it sounds like to an outlier so silly, we're talking about jewelry or clothes or just anything that makes you feel your style. It literally can, when you're not have it on, you feel like you're hiding and you don't have the confidence. I literally experienced that versus when I'm loving how I feel, even if it is just clothes, shoes, whatever, that confidence. And that confidence is what attracts people. So that is fantastic, fantastic advice. And so, okay, I know we've been talking all about, how you're able to relate to us and the listeners and everything here. But can you also tell us a little bit about what you do? I mean, we know digital marketing, but that's also it could be a lot of things.
Okay. Yeah, well, yes, digital marketing is a very broad topic, a very broad industry. And our specialty is helping our clients stop throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks, to stop doing the marketing themselves that they hate doing, and to actually know what's working and not working by doing a deep dive marketing analysis of them, their business, their clients, and their industry, to bring to light a very specific customized marketing strategy that is going to have a marketing plan to go with it, that is going to be able to be measurable, and it's going to be very specific and step by step, because you have to do very specific things and you have to create initiatives that are going to be trackable. You have KPIs and objectives. You can't just throw a bunch of social media posts out there and see and go, okay, which one worked? Well, I don't know. What were you doing with those posts? What was their purpose? What was the goal? And if you don't have that, you're just going to continue to have dismal results in marketing. So we like to help people get through the confusion and guesswork that digital marketing is, to bring measurable, repeatable results. Because everybody is trying to do everything out there, and there's so much information out there, and it changes all the time. That's why we do the deep dive. We get into the analytics, we get into the data, but we also get into, the client avatars, the demographics, the psychographics, the buying behavior, all the different things that make up your ideal clients, because it's not just about male, female, 35, has a job, is married with kids. It's so much deeper now. And to be able to really know who your ideal client is and how you solve their problems is a huge piece of it. But also, what we do is we do a competitive analysis as a part of that strategy, and we show you who your competitors are, how you compete with them, and then how you can win and be not the best kept secret in your industry, but the best known in your industry, because that is what it really takes with all the noise and competition and whatnot going out there in the digital marketing world.
Oh, and that's like every small business has pieces they hate. And I bet a lot of people's it's marketing. I bet a lot of people's it's bookkeeping too for small business or solopreneurs. But marketing, and it's so hard, at least from my perspective with marketing, like it's so hard to be able to find someone outside of your business that is really going to understand your brand, ideals, identity, strategy, everything that you're looking for, and be able to translate it, because a lot of those or a lot of things could just be based on, well, this is what Instagram wants right now. So it's really cool to hear you talk about how you, 100% can relate with all of the types of businesses of the people that are listening to the Gothic Heart. We've got that, alternative interests, etc. Because not everybody will be able to resonate with that. And if we're trying to put that authenticity behind our business and everything. So it's really, really important, or awesome to me to know that there are some people out there that will get it, that it's not just you see all those advertising for marketing people and it's like, oh, you get 30 posts for this. Yeah, okay, but that's probably like the same 30 posts you do for everybody with a different name. You know what I mean? So to have someone really dive in to understand and actually work for your identity, like almost like you are part of the business, is just priceless, invaluable, everybody listening.
Yes, it's definitely much, a lot of marketing agencies and whatnot. Well, yeah, we're going to do 30 social media posts and 4 blog posts and 4 newsletters. It's like, okay, that's great. But what is the intent behind that? What is the call to action? What is the trackable, measurable piece to know if it's converting into leads or sales or what have you? Because just throwing out 30 social media posts about what you do and who you are and yada, 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 if there's no definitive process to it, no definitive measurable goal to it, it's just noise. You're just adding noise to the noise that's already out there. You're not standing out amongst your competition. You're just following the crowd, and we don't want to follow the crowd anymore.
We definitely don't. That's why we're here. But
Right.
also, I mean, you're doing all this hard work because making content is not easy. And for what? What return? What return on all that work you just did? Nothing. Nothing. Okay, so I love, love, love that. And then I also wanted to ask, I know this isn't necessarily applicable to you, but it is so applicable to all of our listeners. Like, so awesome. We found you, a digital marketing guru who can really get in touch with our interests or our style or what we're trying to present. How would we have known that when we were searching for digital marketers, or like, what should we look for when we're looking for outside vendors to help us in some of the things where it's an area of opportunity for us to like make sure that we're going to be able to get and still keep our authenticity, but still grow. Any advice for us?
Well, when you're dealing with people who have really stepped into themselves like I have, you'll see it in their marketing. As a digital marketer, I'm walking my talk of being myself, who I am. I mean, when you go to my website and you go to my about page, I mean, yes, we talk about who we are and what we do, but on my bio page at the bottom is where I go, hey, this is, pair of leather boots, a leather jacket, I go into who I am as a person. And it's like, book your, meet me and get your free digital success session, and you can see the pictures that I have of myself on there and how I dress, and you can listen to you can watch my social media. You can see the different articles that I do, the book, the fact that I'm the best-selling author of Women Gone Wild, which, the guys are like, is that? I'm like, no, it's not that one.
Read the rest.
This is
the title.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's not Girls Gone Wild. It's Women Gone Wild. And no, we are not topless. Thank you very much. But has nothing to do with that at all. But, it's, getting myself out there in this book was a huge, huge step in that direction of going, okay, the cat's out of the bag. If you see my book, which you will, because I talk about it, I didn't like go in and write a chapter and publish it and then go, shh, don't tell anybody.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I use intuition, but shh, don't tell anybody. I mean, it's like, you'll know in their own marketing if they're standing up and being who they are, because they'll talk about themselves. They'll share about themselves and who they are. And when you get on a Zoom call with them, if they've got the blurred out background, they're all business professional. They really are. Or if they have the fake backgrounds up, it's like, unless their fake background is a cool fake background. I mean, not the office setting conference table behind you background, I mean, I had a client actually send me a backdrop for a green screen it probably would be similar to the magical library you see in the Harry Potter movies, if you've seen the Harry Potter movies.
Yes. Gosh. Yes.
It's a library, it's a backdrop of library books that could be from the Hogwarts library.
I actually have that. It's like 2 underneath this backdrop. I just rotate them. And I have like a Gothic, like gate garden one too. Rainbow was today, but I
Right.
have that backdrop. It's like the books, but they're like spooky, like witch, like potion type books and stuff. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
love that.
and those, that's how and do your homework, Google them, go look everywhere they're at, and if they really aren't presenting themselves in anything but business only, and a lot of them will talk about their ideal client. There are people like me. I mean, I have multiple client avatars like most businesses do, and the all three of my avatars can be non-witchy woo-woo or they can be witchy woo-woo. But they know that I am, and they're coming into this eyes wide open because I'm saying, hey, I'm witchy woo-woo, and that's who I am. And my team is all diverse in what they believe, who they are, all those different things. I mean, it's a well-rounded entity here. But me as the leader and CEO, this is who I am, and this is what you're coming into. And that's the way it is. And people will be, if they're really truly that kind of a person, they'll talk about it in their marketing, on their website, in their social media. If they do podcasts, they will actually be talking about it. If they're not talking about it, it's highly unlikely that they are, going to appreciate who you are as a Gothic person, a witchy woo woo person, a spiritual, visionary, creative person who is into, the things that are, because woo woo used to be a bad word in our world. And it has finally come to light that woo woo is not bad. And a lot of people are finding, a lot of business professional people are going, you know what? We need that. I want that. And they're finding it more and more acceptable, so to speak. And not that we need to be accepted, but they're seeing the fact they're seeing the success behind the people who are embracing it. And when you embrace who you are 100%, you will succeed. And it shows in who you are publicly online if you're open and honest about who you are.
And I feel like they're even the woo woo term has basically been redefined. I mean, it's always been around. Mother's intuition, all of those things. We're just finally realizing that's all part of it. It's always been there. It just wasn't talked about in the way that it is now. But it's
Very much so. Well, and
so
it was always a
beneficial.
woman thing too, and more men are coming to the table than ever before. And it's amazing to see that men are getting it too, because it's that men have that tendency to be business professional and and everything's in a box. It's like everybody's figuring out, no, everything's not in a box. And if you're going to live in a box, you're going to be in a box, and you're not going to get anywhere because boxes are confining, and they don't let you be who you are, and they don't let people see who you are. And you've got to be different, but you've got to be authentically different, because trust me, I've seen the people that come out and pretend to be what they're not. The big, I don't know if you remember the trend of the F-bomb. Everybody started using F-bombs in their stuff. And you could tell the people who were not really F-bomb kind of people, because it was, you could hear the fakeness or read the fakeness of it or the overuse of it, because they were trying to be cool, because hey, yeah, I use the F-bomb, I'm cool, I'm rad, and it's like,
Well, here's
oh
what's
honey,
cool.
no, it is so not you. I mean, it's the same kind of concept though. If you're a cusser, if that's, I mean, I grew up on a farm in Illinois. My dad cussed like a sailor. Heck, my dad made up cuss words. It was crazy, and so I'm a cusser. I will tell you, I'm a cusser, and I can drop the F-bomb, but I know I drop it when it's appropriate, so to speak. I mean, when people say the F-bomb's never appropriate. It's like,
But it's not like
appropriate for
every other
me.
word.
If I'm in a situation and the F-bomb is how I want to express myself, that's how I'm going to express myself.
Yeah.
That's just who I am, and that has nothing to do with being Gothic or spiritual or anything. But again, it's who you are. It's stepping into it and saying, you know what, I say the F word every once in a while. So if you don't want to hear F-bombs, you don't want to work with me, or you don't want to hang around me, kind of a thing. Or you don't want your kids around me, because it's just who I am. And it's all a part of it. It's language, it's persona, it's energy, it's all of it. No matter what it is so important to be that authentically. And if you are that authentically, it will show in everything you do in the online world when people are looking for you to work with you.
And people will connect with it. For trying to be something you're not or to fit into a trend, or it's not going to resonate. Like you said, people will notice that. And then it was kind of a little bit ago, but what you had said, like as far as finding the right types of people to assist you in your business, or depending on what you do and don't want to do, I think what you said was absolutely key. It was great advice. Like, to go on their social media, see what they're doing, because I feel like so many people could Google something, read a couple of reviews, read a website, but that's not the whole story. And I could attest to that here. Like for the podcast, I don't bring anyone on that I haven't at least seen something on their social media talking. Okay, because I don't want them to come on and be, silent, scared, uncomfortable in front of the camera or speaking or something. So if I don't see something like that somewhere on their social media, then they're not coming on my podcast, right? So I just think that what you said there is so valuable, because you can say one thing in words or whatever you have on your website, and then the other in social media, and just make sure you're getting the whole picture. So I think that was perfect advice for all of us trying to find stuff.
Because, a lot of people hide their social media, and that's the other thing. If you can't find people on social media, that's a big red flag. And it doesn't, whether they're a marketer or not, but, everybody is embracing the online world. And if they're not embracing the online world, and you have an online business, and you need people who are experienced in the online business stuff, whether that's the back end tech, the marketing, whatever it is. And but especially if they're a marketer and they have terrible social media, or you think I want you to be my marketer because you clearly aren't marketing yourself. You're not walking the talk of a digital marketer because your website is 50 years old. It's, whatever. Yep. Because trust me, I've seen it. I've seen people, I'm a social media manager. And you go look at their social media and it's practically dead. It's like crickets. And you're like,
then what are you doing? Okay, what are you going to do for me if you can't do it for yourself?
Yeah, if you're not doing it for yourself, how are you doing it for others and doing it well? I mean,
I say that and I agree. But then on the other hand, I haven't taken the time to custom make any jewelry for myself lately because I just keep making it for clients. So I'm like, no, but you can see the things that I make and all of that stuff on there too. But that's just crazy. And and of course, solopreneurs are not good at everything. Well, right? This is why we use other people. But as far as like marketing or web developers or something, obviously they should have good marketing of themselves and web developing of themselves. Like I am the worst photographer ever, so I now have help. And my photos are looking much, much, much better, right? So, I mean, there's always things, we try to wear all the hats, but there's always reasons to reach out, and then finding someone that can really see your vision and see things the way you do is just really important. And absolutely. So as we're wrapping up, I want to make sure, first, we will absolutely have everything in the show notes on how to reach you, everything we talked about, all of those things, but is there anything we didn't talk about that you want to share with our listeners or that I missed?
I mean, the only other, to go a little bit deeper into the intuition and listening and not listening, as far as who I am today, it goes back to before I was really stepping into who I am. When I first started my business, the first thing I noticed intuition wise was I would literally say, I am not going to do X, Y, and Z in my business. I'm going to do this. And then an opportunity would like literally fall in my lap of the X, Y, and Z I said I wasn't going to do. And I'm like, okay, I guess I am going to do that. Or I'm going to hire someone to do that as a part of my team to do it for my, that kind of a thing. And it was like that for many years. And then in 2018, I finally hit what I called the big time. I hit my 6-figure year. I went exclusive with a client that I thought was going to be, that I'd been with for a while. They were 6 figures. I was like, oh my God, I've made it. And that whole year I had this feeling in the background going, you probably shouldn't have done this. You probably shouldn't have done this. And so as the year went on, I'm like, you know what? I got to listen to that because I've realized while it's great to work with one company and do just X amount of things, I'm not going to be able to make much more money than this. I'm not going to be able to do other things that I like doing because I'm in this box with them. So, toward the end of 2018, I started listening to my intuition and I put together another revenue stream for the company that was a digital marketing agency. And I soft launched at the end of 2018. And I kid you not, literally 2 weeks later, they let me go. I literally lost it all. And that little nudge, my inner that whole, you need something else. You need to be doing something else, because it was preparing me for that, because that launching that digital marketing agency as my second revenue stream is what saved my business in the long run, turned out to be the best thing that I could do. It's evolved and grown and changed since then. But because I started there and had that there with the support I had around me to start over, I was able to regrow to six figures in 15 months. I was able to make multiple six figures year after year after that, because I listened to my intuition. I stepped into what I really want to be doing, what I'm really good at, what I'm really passionate about, and building the team that goes with it. And all of that just all started falling into place because I stopped ignoring my intuition. And then over the years, I more and more grew into being who I am, the witchy woo woo person, and trusting that more often than not, and trying not to fight my intuition in the universe, because it really does slap me upside the head hard when I do that. And I don't want the baseball bats anymore. I really want to be who I am. And my chapter in the book speaks to that story very specifically. And I wanted everyone who's listening in that Gothic space, that spiritual space, to know, oh my gosh, yeah, she ignored it and she almost lost everything until it kind of kicked in and said, you really need to do something else. And I'm glad I listened, because if I hadn't, I don't know where I'd be today. I certainly wouldn't be where I am. And I'm in a really great space. I love what I do. I love my team. I love my clients. The book opportunity came up because of what I'm doing. I mean, I'd be missing out on all this if that hadn't happened. And it really is key to combine the different decision-making pieces of making decisions in life and business, because when you ignore a big factor, it can knock you on your butt. And thankfully, I wasn't ignoring it completely. It knocked me down, but it prepared me to be knocked down so I could get right back up and go again.
Such a good story. Such a good and lesson for all of us to absolutely pay attention. Well, and diversify, but to just pay attention that you know what's best for your business. And if there's a part where you don't know, that's when you've hired in an expert or you've brought in an expert for advice, right? That whole well-rounded decision-making process that you had talked about in the beginning. So that just brings us full circle to what we
Yes.
started at. So
Pretty much. Yeah.
So I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. Definitely going to be scheduling one of those consults you discussed, as I'm
I'm ready.
worrying about all of my, new launch and upcoming and what the changes are going to look like. But for everyone else, of course, I know it sounded amazing. And if you don't have a small business or that's not your needs, you definitely know someone. So share this episode, share her information, follow, like, subscribe. I will have all of her information on how to get to her in the show notes and everything. And especially when we share this episode, everything will be easy to find her, tag her, everything, so that you guys can all make sure that you can access her when you need to. So thank you again, Sophie. I love so much of what you had to say. It was pretty much like a giant summary of everything that we're trying to do here on Gothic Heart with authenticity, and just a great testimonial to show like it works. It's proven. You're living proof of it. So thanks again. And everybody, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.